Hello, everybody.
Hi there.
It's Ryno
And Deni.
of course, and welcome to another episode of the Best and Worst of Walt Disney World. And again, we are on location. So if you're watching this, you can see that. And if you're listening to this, it probably sounds a little different than normal, but we're continuing that trend here. And you can see we are at Epcot today. Right? And today we've decided, this was Deni's idea, and I think it was a great idea. I feel like we a lot of times talk about Figment, Journey into Imagination, about it's like bulldoze it, get rid of it, whatever. And you know, we've got Kathy Whirling loves it. There are people that love Figment and love this attraction. Like, so we're here today to figure out, why is Journey into Imagination the worst?
Yes, yes. And if you still love it, that's a great thing. But we're going to look at it really honestly, with as blind an eye as we can, and talk about why maybe it's on that list of things that needs a little love.
Yes, yeah. And so we're going to ride the attraction, and we're going to look at things like the gift shop. We're going to try and break it down and be like what we like. We're going to say what we like too. So we're going to say, I think this is the best part, this is the worst part. So we're going to, like Deni said, come at it very analytically and see where we end up on the other side of this. So this should be a journey for us all, right?
It will be a journey.
Yeah, so I just want to remind everybody before we get started that, as always, the best and worst of Walt Disney World is brought to you by Dreams Unlimited Travel. They are experts at helping you plan the perfect Disney vacation. So if you're thinking about coming to Disney, book with them. It costs you nothing extra, and you help support the show, the channel, all that sort of content that we produce here. Check them out, dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. That's enough out of me for now. Let's get in that attraction and see what happens.
Off we go.
Welcome to our special drive-through open house. I'm Dr. Michael Channing, Chairman of the Imagination Institute. Hello. On your tour, you'll see how the 5 human senses can help capture your imagination.
Oh, can I go too?
Absolutely not. This is one of our discoveries, the figment of imagination.
Yeah, I know all about the senses. There's sight, sound, smell, touch, coochie-coochie-coo, and taste. Tastes like chicken. Can I go? Please, please, please.
No, I don't want you out of my sight.
Out of sight? Okay. Come on, everybody. Here we go.
Figment, you are not to interfere with the tour. Our first stop is the sound lab. We'll begin by testing your hearing with a series of tones. Left ear, right ear. Left, right. What? Is it on? Hello? Who is this?
It's Figment.
Figment? I thought I told you not to interfere.
But you've got it wrong, Doc. It's not about listening with your ears. It's about listening with your imagination.
Now I've completely lost my train of thought.
No, you haven't. It's over here. All aboard. Woo-hoo! Next stop, imagination. For every sound your ears are hearing, 1,000 thoughts can start appearing, and each of us imagines different things. From just a sound, your mind has wings.
Continuing now, if I may, in a calm, scientific, figment-free manner, the things we see with our eyes can control the eyes of the imagination. Let's begin by using the eye chart to test your vision. Now, all together, if you would please read line 3 and hint.
With F-I-G-M-E-N-T, you can see things differently. Sure, you can see with your eyes, but imagine what you could see if you used your imagination. Follow the bouncing figment. One spark of light can light your fancy. Your mind sees more than what your eyes see. Your sense of sight can make your fancy fly. There's more to sight than meets the eye.
I say imagination must be captured and controlled.
Imagination works best when it's set free. Just turn your imagination loose and anything can happen.
Figment? Figment? Oh, he's gone. Our research shows that smells often trigger the imagination, especially when pleasant, familiar smells come
Come into play? I'd love to.
Figment, this is not a good time.
It's always a good time to use your imagination, so let the good times roll! Woohoo! You win one cent!
Figment, don't! Oh, yeah, really stinks.
Of course, Doc. The nose knows. One auto whip can send you reeling. One lovely sniff can be appealing. Your mind defined what enters through your nose. That's how you tell a skunk is not a rose.
You know, I'm sorry, but after that big stink in the smell lab, I hesitate to send you into the touch and taste labs. Perhaps I should end my open house right here.
Great idea. We'll go to my open house instead. It's much more fun. Right this way, everybody.
What is going on? You're turning this entire open house upside down.
Upside down? Now you're talking. That's the best idea you've had all day. With just a spark of inspiration, I made my house an innovation. Imagination really comes around. Things come kind of and upside down. Now here's a real open house. Come on in. So what do you think? Is it me?
More than you can imagine.
It's exactly what I imagined. Imagination is the brain's open house.
Of course. Imagination is just turning your feet upside down. Well, if you can't beat them, join them. We all have sparks.
Imagination. That's how our minds create creations.
We set them free and know what they can do. Those magic sparks
From me and you. You see now, I knew you'd get it, because you've got a wonderful imagination.
I do. Oh, yes. Well, thank you, Figment. And so, as you can plainly see, imagination works the best when it's set free.
You said it, Doc. Imagination is a blast. A dream can be a dream come true. With just that spark from me and you.
Of inspiration is at the heart of all creation, right at the start of everything that's new. One little spark.
So that was an experience.
Absolutely. We had quite a journey with Figment.
Yeah. Well, we are indoors right now. We're inside of the land area because it started raining outside, so we didn't have any cool background or anything like that. So here we are in this booth.
This is what you get.
Yeah.
So sorry.
Well, let's talk about our experience of the attraction, like
Okay.
from beginning as you go through it. So it starts, we walk up to the building, and we've got you brought this up in another episode of Best and Worst about the banner, which I never really realized before. Journey into Imagination doesn't have like a real its attraction sign is like outside, right?
Yes.
Because it's way
Yes.
away from the building. But then when you walk up, it's got those banners. Like, what's
Yep.
the deal with the banners? What is the deal with the banners?
Well, Ryno, see, it's open house day. This is part of the theming. They're inviting everyone in to come and experience the Imagination Institute. And so you kind of get to see the inside. And of course, Figment takes things over. We're supposed to be on a nice little easygoing tour. Dr. Nigel Channing has a plan, and then Figment takes over. So that's why everything kind of looks temporary.
Yeah.
All those banners are hanging up. That's because it's open house day.
Once we get inside of that queue, you know, it's got a couple of props. It had the Wayne Zielinski's like helmet was in there. There was Weibo from
Yes.
the Flubber movie that I'm sure like no children or anybody has seen at this point, because I wouldn't consider that. You know, it's got the late great Robin Williams in it, and we love Robin Williams. And I remember that year where that movie came out, it was Flubber everything. Like my mom got me one of the Flubbers where you like hit it and it would shake and laugh and do
Yes.
whatever. It was like a beanbag or thing. And I loved that thing, but I don't know that movie stood like the test of time and anything. And so I feel like it's kind of, I love seeing Robin Williams' picture wherever we go, but it's Robin Williams, it's Wayne Zielinski, and then it's Nigel Channing is the other one, right? I feel like this attraction is out of touch with time, because also I get a very basic vibe from the queue, which is kind of, you know, we didn't really get all these like really interactive queues until the last couple of years, you know, in you know, last like 5 to I'd say less than 10 years probably, you know, and so I do understand that, but I look at this attraction as like the queue isn't even built to really you be in there for a long time, I don't think, but at the same time it's also very reflective of what the experience in the attraction is going to be, is in terms of it's very basic, I think, very minimal.
It is, and so like there's a lot of facades, but you don't really see beyond the facade, and we've kind of gotten used to queues having multiple layers. There are many dimensions to these queues now. I think of like something like Expedition Everest and everything. That queue is amazing, and it's so layered and so detailed. Whereas this is just, hey, you're passing, like you said.
You're just passing a desk.
You're
desk.
passing
Whose
through.
desk?
And I'd like people to be at that desk.
Well,
I'd like some notes to be out on the desk. I'd like all
it's
those
kind of crazy for this
clues.
institute that we literally don't see any people.
That's true.
You bring that up, you know, that you'd like to see people, but like,
Right there.
so if this is the open house, we don't really, there's no, you know, that would be a great place for like a character or something, maybe, or even just like a simple animatronic or just a giant figure. Something gotta be there at that desk, right?
One of the robots from Star Tours. Maybe when he's on break, he could come over and sit at the desk.
Wouldn't that be imaginative? But yeah, so there's that. So I feel like that queue also sets you up. Like, it's not really setting up a story or anything like that. It has all the. Somebody's murdering a child in here somewhere.
Apparently, she's having a hard time
She's
today.
having a tough day. Tough day. We've all had those days.
Yes.
I hear you, friend.
Yes.
It's like what you said. There's a bunch of these like facades, because there's a bunch of doors where you see the Robin Williams character's door, and there's like the Flubbers behind it, and then there's that Dimensions hallway that like everything's a little off, but it's all. It doesn't mean anything, you know. It doesn't mean anything to me, and it honestly, it's again. It feels like somebody put in the minimal amount of work to construct that queue, and I really don't mean to be offensive to any Imagineer if you were a part of this or anything like that. I'm imagining the budget was very low to create this.
Well, and back in the day, that may have been very forward-thinking, but as you said, now that we have queues like we have now, it could use some love.
Yes, yeah. So then we board we come up to the boarding area, right? And we get in our attraction vehicles, which again, you know, standard issue buggy like thing.
They're cute.
So we get in there and we start our journey, and that's when they really say, like, what's the doctor's name again?
Dr. Nigel Channing.
Okay, there is a TV show or something where there's a Dr. Richard Nightguard, and I can't remember what show that if that's from Friends or Brooklyn Nine-Nine or something, and I am like, it's what I keep wanting to call that character, and I know that's not who it is. It might even be from Parks and Rec. I don't
Dr.
know.
Richard Kimball is the fugitive, right? So that's not this.
But so it keeps throwing me for that loop. But we get in there, and the doctor says, like,
the
"Hey,
good doctor,
the doctor, not a Doctor Who attraction though." So, but he says, like, "Welcome to this open house. You're going to come on in," and then we get a couple of these like screens that show him, and Figment shows up, and he's like, "Hey, this is Figment," like blah blah blah. And I don't like that part because to me it is very dated. First of all, the projectors need to be focused or something because I felt like everything in this attraction, wherever there was a visual, was very out of focus.
Yeah.
And also, Monty Python actor's name, who
Eric Idle.
Eric Idle is. He's only ever really present in this attraction in a video form that feels very, again, very outdated. It's an outdated attraction, so I'm going to stop saying outdated. But
which might have something to do with the projections being just a little soft focus for us. Like nothing's really super sharp.
I have no emotional attachment to Figment or this attraction previously. I hate the sound of Figment's voice. It starts and it is grating to me. It is so grating.
Bless his heart. I mean,
I know. You can give me all the hate you guys want, but it's fine. I just can't. I can't take it.
I'm just glad that it's back to the original voice. I'm okay with that. It's hard. It's
the song. I hate the song so much.
For every sound your ears are hearing, 1,000 thoughts.
I hate it. I'm sorry. I don't like it. I think it's because I don't like his voice.
See, and I like it. I like One Little Spark. I love the Sherman Brothers. I mean, hello.
Did they write the song?
Yes.
Oh,
You're offending everyone right now.
I do feel terrible saying it.
Just offending everyone. No, I'm teasing. Here's the deal. Figment in this attraction is not a very... I mean, they've tried, but he doesn't come off as a lovable character.
No, I agree. I think maybe that's what I have a problem with.
Yeah.
It reminds me of the 3D creature they create in the Muppets attraction.
Oh yeah, the Spirit of 3D?
Yeah.
Who likes the Spirit of... No one likes the Spirit of 3D.
I know, and but at least with the Spirit of 3D, he like kind of comes, has his moment, and like moves on. Whereas this attraction is like,
he's with you.
And you're like, oh goodness. But so we go into that first room, right? And that first room is the sound room. Is that it? And I have to tell you, the sound... we've moved past this. It's the same reason why Sounds Dangerous didn't work at Hollywood Studios, is that we've moved past that kind of amphitheater.
Binaural sound.
Yeah. And so that room doesn't work at all, really. And then...
Well, I just think it's scary.
Well, I think it has potential with the train scene, because I know it, like, all the lights go off and it feels like the train's coming, right? But there's no, like, lights. There's no anything. It's just you're sitting in the dark.
In the dark.
And it's right. And it's weird for a kid, because... This does feel like this is definitely skews toward the younger audience. But then I think to myself, well, the train part's probably going to scare a kid a lot. You know, it's probably what that child that was crying earlier was afraid of.
That's what the issue is, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So then we go into the sight lab, right?
Yes,
and we get our eye test with Figment, which is, again, it's all facades, right? There isn't anything interactive.
Just flat doors with like lit up to look like somebody's in their office, right? Yeah.
And I think, I mean, while there are things out on the lab tables, which I appreciate, but I think we could go even more, right? I think we don't have a Figment animatronic in this lab. And I think
it's because it's on the screen. Yeah,
I think that would be good. I don't know how you would do a Dr. Nigel Channing animatronic. It would end up looking like Ellen did on Ellen's Energy Adventure, and that just wasn't good. So
I think the thing I struggle with in all the rooms in particular is that there's no motion. Nothing moves. There's no, like what you said. I don't know that. I like what you said. I don't know that if we need that animatronic, but I wish if Figment is invisible, because he goes invisible in the beginning when the doctor's talking, and then I would like to see maybe it's like him blowing past us. So like some papers kind of blow up and he reappears, or, just some of the machinery is clicking and moving or whatever, because even in like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids where like Zelensky, like there's always something kind of going on and it's cluttered and scientists always have their devices going. It also is weird because you have the sound room, and then once I get into the the sight room, I think to myself, what does any of this have to do with imagination?
On your tour, you'll see how the 5 human senses can help capture your imagination.
Well,
Is that the
yeah.
thing where they're trying to say
I mean,
all your senses combined
yes.
create your imagination?
Yeah.
It feels like a weird, I get the message they're saying, but it's a weird where I'm like, I don't know what we're doing.
Yeah.
I don't know what we're doing here. Who's funding this institute?
Exactly.
Who's funding them?
Maybe it's as simple as having a cast member there in the lab and in a lab coat
Maybe
and
it's
interacting with Figment.
Like
and,
how they used to do the drawing academy with Mushu,
yes,
right?
something like that at least helps have some kind of energy in the room that's different than just flat screens. I don't know.
I wrote in my notes there was just a lot of hallways too after this. It was a lot of just like, you know, you leave and then there's that one hallway that has like the big butterfly in it, and I think, oh, it's gonna get exciting. Here we go. No, it's just like.
Although the butterfly disappearing effect is cool.
Does it disappear?
It disappears. Well, when we go into the smell lab, and the smell lab, wouldn't it be the coolest thing if it did something other than skunk?
Yeah. Like if it changed every time and you were like, what are you in store for? You know,
Oh,
like,
it's rose now, or mint.
Maybe the ploy is like you think he's about to do the skunk and it clicks one more time to one of the other things. And
How
that's like,
cool would that be if it really was a jackpot every time? Like it was by chance that you get this.
It just adds another layer of why Figment's annoying in the attraction. It's like Stitch burping in your face. It's okay for our characters to be mischievous, but we don't want them to be obnoxious. Right? Like, that doesn't make them as lovable as we want them to be.
There's nothing warm and fuzzy about Figment.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah.
He's a plastic veneer, and
let's talk about the upside down house.
Yes. So first, before we go in there, we can talk about how very cute his Christmas sweater
like
is.
his Christmas sweater.
I mean,
I think it was a nice touch. I do think it was cute.
Thank you, Disney,
what's
for
on
that.
What's on the sweater?
That's the logo, because every pavilion has a logo in Future World. That's the logo for the Imagination Pavilion.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's a tip of the hat that Disney doesn't have to do.
Yeah, I know. It was a nice. That was the holiday overlay to Journey into Imagination.
He's got sweaters on, and it's just the cutest thing. But yeah, so everything with his open house, so it's all fluorescent colors. It's the use of black light, and I just kind of go, why in the literal world is this here? I don't understand it.
For me, it literally feels like the part where they gave up.
Yes.
Right? Like, because the other rooms, as much as we said they were very plain, they felt like they were missing something. They were still like, okay, here's a room, and then that room, though, you were like, okay, did I just get to the carnival? Like, I don't understand. Like,
that's exactly.
It's like a fun house,
that's
right?
What
like
it feels like.
But also the crazy part about it too is that that's the moment when the doctor has the switch and he's like, oh, I get what Figment's been trying to say all along, and I was like, because his house is upside down. That's the part that made you see the world differently, not the fact that you created an animated dragon out of nowhere that you can see.
And we get it. Like, it's supposed to be, you've got to look at the world different. Everything, is upside down. It's the song. Yes, we get it. However...
Okay, all right, I have a question now because you brought up the song. Is the song... So, the lyrics to this song, were they written prior to this version?
Yes.
And there is a part in that original song about things being upside down?
Everything right side up is upside down.
Sounds like topsy-turvy from the second Mary Poppins.
Yeah, I mean,
Mary
that's...
Poppins? Who's Mary Poppins?
Mary Poppins. Yeah, I mean...
that to me feels like it was a shoehorn scene then. They were like, there's this part in the song we have to... Was there always an upside-down house in this attraction?
No. If I remember correctly, and I was a kid, I was 10 the first... Yeah, I'm dating myself, which is fine. But I was 10 when I first went on this attraction. So, I mean, I remember little bits and pieces of being here. I don't remember being on that attraction. I have since watched it on YouTube because there's a really grainy version of the original. And I kind of go, oh, that's right. I remember the Rainbow Tunnel from upstairs, but that's about it that I remember. And no, the open house was not in the original.
It just feels like the storyline of this attraction is so brief. It feels like like, because he has that realization there, and it's just he's flipped and it's whatever.
Yep.
So it doesn't even feel like it felt so rushed. It feels.
It does. It feels like it was half-heartedly, and again,
half-heartedly is a good word.
Our apologies to the Imagineers, who we know.
Didn't Tony Baxter say that he would help do another version of this attraction recently?
Mr. Baxter, please.
Yeah, somebody.
Intervene.
I think it was him, right? Or somebody recently said, it was an Imagineer who said he would be all in and would happily help redo a Figment attraction. I was like, God, yeah, please.
We would
I know
love
we're
that.
not going to see it because Epcot is in tatters at the moment, but it's whatever. But the thing is too that's so funny to me is, okay, so then the ride you get into that hallway where it's all the Christmas lights, and then it becomes like normal, and you're like, oh, it's like a fun visual, whatever. It's super basic, but it's fun. But then they're like, get out. And they're
time
like,
to
go explore the Imageworks area,
Yes,
right?
Imageworks. Yeah.
Okay, the hallway into Imageworks, so not even my problem with Imageworks. The hallway into Imageworks is literally just a gray hallway, and someone painted Figment's footprints on it, and I was like, this doesn't feel like where Wayne Zielinski would work. This doesn't feel like where, Dr. Brainerd or whatever Robin Williams' character's name was, where he would work. This doesn't feel like any sort of imagination or creativity is living here.
No.
And I think that's my problem, is that if it was a different setup, or like it doesn't have that fun to it. You know what I mean?
No.
Like, I almost feel like it should have a Toontown-esque visual aesthetic to it.
I wish we could go back in time. I wish we could go back to that. Now, there was a reason why the original went to that second version, because it had stayed too long at the dance. It was time for it to be redone. But now, when everything old is new again, wouldn't it be cool just to turn back the clock? Like, Imageworks was this amazing place.
Yeah.
This where, mind-blowing technology at the time was showcased, and kids got to do all the things that, with all the germs that we now know about in the days of COVID. But
I was grossed out pre-COVID when it was, because it's not, none of it's really open right now. Which makes it like an extra sad exit, but that's okay. We got it. But even when it was open, I was like, everything in here is gross.
I know too much.
Yeah.
All those little fingers. But yeah, so you're right. That exit from the attraction should be like this magical portal that takes us into this place that really helps us to continue to use our imagination. That's our first on the attraction in the Imagination Pavilion. That's our first chance to use what we just learned on the attraction, right?
Yeah.
We get to now use our imagination and play with all this technology, and unfortunately the portal between A and B is lacking, and then when you get to B, it needs help.
Yeah.
It's needed help for some time now.
Yeah, and I will say this about the gift shop portion of that. I mean, they should really pull that merchandise out of that. It's like in this one little bubble kind of at the end of that area, but at least there is Figment merchandise that's there. And I will argue, if you're a Figment fan, I think there's some cute stuff in there, because they have, you know me, how much I love those Bigfoot plushies. They've got a Figment in there that's cute.
So cute.
They've got the zip-up hoodie where you can wear his skin and his hood. And then there was like the shoulder Figment, which was fun, and so at least there is merchandise of him represented in there, because I think there was like a period of time where the Figment merchandise was kind of hard to come by. Now it's like any festival, anything like that.
Oh yeah, no, and for Food and Wine this year, they had a ton of Chef Figment merch, and they had a huge display set up in Imageworks. It was like your one-stop shop for all the Figment festival stuff. So
we did talk a lot about, I feel like basically everything we went through was kind of the worst. I'm trying to think of something positive to say about it.
I think for me, what is my motivation behind all of this, is I want to love Figment again. I want to look at him and feel the affection I felt for him back in the day. Like, this is my favorite park. So he is the icon for this park. He is our mascot. I want to look at him again and go, he's my little buddy. You know, he's someone I connect with. And right now, I think there's a little bit of a disconnect because it is just so obvious that the pavilion needs some love. And it's kind of like what we feel in sometimes, or I'll speak for myself, what I feel sometimes in Tomorrowland, right? Like Tomorrowland is always going to be dated unless you put it back and it's retro, futuristic Tomorrowland. Same here, like all that technology and Imageworks, that's all, as soon as you install all of it, it's going to be dated. Kind of like as soon as you drive a new car off the lot, it decreases in value. So there's got to be an answer there somewhere, but my motivation is I want to love Figment again.
I think what I would have liked to have seen is, so if we took the different scenes with like sound, you know, whatever, all that stuff, and maybe it wasn't senses, but each room was like Figment turning something that was a basic experiment into something imaginative. Or maybe we make it about how other people who have had these big imaginations have created stuff. You know, maybe it's like Steve Jobs with the iPod. You know, maybe it's like whoever with the, you know, maybe it's just an illusion of those. I know the thing I said with Steve Jobs, I could have said Albert Einstein or anybody else. I'm sorry that I offended somebody out there by saying that. But like, I think that's what I want. I want a showcase of imagination. And I think Figment, like, he could be that spark. That he could be that. It would almost be cool if he was that spark in different scenes. You know, and it was him knocking something over that was like, oh, Isaac Newton, this is gravity, blah, blah, blah. You know, that's where it kicks the mind over, you know, and like keeps it going. I don't know. That
ties in really beautifully with the and I don't know the official name of it, and I should. I'll look it up, I'll Google it, but there's the Inventors Circle right out here in Future World West that's near Innoventions. Thankfully, it's still there. It has a construction wall that comes really close to it. But just like you're saying with Sir Isaac Newton and some of, you know, Albert Einstein, some of the great inventors of all time, they have little plaques in the ground right outside.
Oh, that's cool.
And so how they could, there's another tie-in right there. Like you have all these great inventors. Let's talk about Marie Curie. Let's talk about all these people. So,
I'd love to see that, you know, even if it is in a way where it becomes all screen-based or something like that, but you could do something interesting with it. So it's like, it's not a complete, you can still use the track, but you're going from scene to scene. I don't know. That's an attraction makeover episode. That's what that is. But
yes.
I think all in all, this attraction, I think, is, if it's not a walk-on, it's not something to come and do, I don't think. I don't even know. I'd say it's one of those, even if I'd still say, like, do it if you did everything else in the park, I guess. There's no scenario where I'm like, yeah, fine. I don't know.
No, and if Fast Pass ever comes back, it's not something to use to burn a Fast Pass on. It's not.
I think there's something where we were talking afterwards about how the entire pavilion kind of needs an overhaul, because there isn't really, like, all you have next to it is the theater.
Yeah.
And that is just playing Pixar shorts that have not been new for a long time and are now readily available on like Disney Plus and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then, you know, next to that, there's like a photo op area, and that's like, it's kind of it. It's really just like, you're calling this place the Imagination Pavilion, and you have there's like literally nothing. The most imaginative, coolest part about this pavilion is the the waterfall going up. Yeah. And then the architecture of the building, I think, too.
Well, and when you look at the map of all the changes that are coming to Epcot and coming to Future World, literally the Imagination Pavilion is divided in two. There's two separate neighborhoods that the dividing line comes right on top of the Imagination Pavilion. So it's almost like nobody really knows what to do with this thing quite yet. But we hope that they turn their attention to it eventually.
Well, that's our opinion. That's our take on it here. Again, sorry we were inside. You know, that we normally were outside and doing this. We're really far away from everybody, but this, if you've ever been in the land, you know that it's kind of an echo spot. So it doesn't matter if there's nobody around here or one person. It all kind of
everybody's here.
Reverberates back to you. Yeah. So So apologies about that, but yeah, thank you. We would love to hear about your take on Figment. Do you love it? I want to know. I'm like Deni said in the beginning, I'm not hatred, it's not negative, but our just like ambivalence toward it, it does not negate your love of it.
That's right.
So please let us know why. I love having those type of conversations. I know you do too.
Absolutely.
Right? So yeah, so just comments below, please. Remember, if you enjoyed this at all, even a little bit, please hit the like button and consider subscribing to the channel, obviously. And the next time you're planning a Disney vacation, please book with Dreams Unlimited Travel. It costs you nothing extra. You help support the show. DreamsUnlimitedTravel.com. I think that's going to do it for us. Thank you, Deni, for having this conversation and this journey with me.
Yes, thank you for having me along for the journey.
Well, thank you, everybody out there. We'll see you next time with another episode of The Best and Worst of Walt Disney World. Bye, everybody.
Bye.